And we are live. Welcome, I'm Alexandra. I'm founder of Life with Herpes. I'm gonna grab my tea because it is a necessity for talking. All right, I'm Alexandra. I'm founder of Life with Herpes. I'm excited to be here with you today talking about our favorite subject, which is herpes. No, I'm just kidding. It's probably not our favorite subject. And in fact, nobody ever wanted to talk about it. And that's why we are probably here. And that's why it is rampant. And that's why so many people have HSV. I've been talking publicly about my herpes diagnosis since 2017. And I was diagnosed with HSV1 in 2003 and HSV2 in 2011. So I've been talking about this I haven't been talking about it for decades, but I have been living with it for decades. And I don't like saying decades, but anyways, the reason why I've opened up and decided to be public about my diagnosis is because when I was diagnosed in 2011, it was terrifying because it was extremely isolating. I was 28 years old and I believed that 27, 28, whatever. I believed that I was going to be alone for the rest of my life. I believed that I had to settle. I believed that I had to now choose a different path in life because of my diagnosis. I had to make changes in my life, and this is what I truly believed. And so because of that, I held myself back for 2 years. I like to call it the Eeyore phase. As we know, Eeyore in Winnie the Pooh, he has that rain cloud over him and he's going through life like, ho hum, life is so hard, yada, yada, yada. And that's where I was. So I was living that way and just going through life, wasting time, not living life to the fullest, and definitely not myself, definitely not the person I am today, years later. So that is why I go public about this, and that is why I am here to support and do what I can to help support you all that have just been diagnosed with herpes, or whether you've been living with it for a while and you are still in your Eeyore phase, what I can do to support you to get through that. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm going to smash the screen because I want to send you guys hearts. I want to send you hearts. I want to thank you for joining me today, wherever it is that you are in the world. Social media is amazing that we can do this. I can be live. You can be live with me, and we can be smashing the screen together, sending the hearts, and just thanking you all for joining me. If you have a friend that has herpes, if you have a lover that has herpes, if you have a cousin, a sibling, whatever, a friend that needs to hear this information, please share it with that person so that he or she can begin to heal, so that he or she can begin to go to the next, just be able to heal. And because what happens is we have these deep-rooted beliefs. This is something I've been speaking. Thank you for the hearts, guys. We have some deep-rooted beliefs in there that ultimately will prevent us from healing. And those roots can be so deep or so tight in our systems, in our fabric of who we are, that we are going to get stuck, and we are potentially going to be stuck in the Eeyore phase for a long time. So for those of you that are live with me right now, feel free to ask your questions. I do answer them in the order in which they do arrive. Sometimes the app doesn't like your question, so make sure you word it very, very G-rated, and that way I can go through and I can answer it directly for you. And here we go. If you have HSV1, can you kiss someone if you're not active but take antivirals for it? Can you spread? So regardless of having HSV1 or HSV2, the question is more like, where do you have it? Where is it located? So if you have oral herpes, you have the potential to transmit oral herpes orally. And if you have genital herpes, you have the ability to transmit genital herpes genitally. So what I mean by that, if you have oral herpes and oral herpes only, you're not going to be contagious genitally, and vice versa. If you have genital herpes, if you have an outbreak, let's say, you can use your mouth and you're not going to transmit it that way. So your specific question, I had to give the background, but specifically, can you kiss somebody if you have HSV1? So I have HSV1 oral. I kiss my son, I kiss my husband daily because that's what we do as humans. That's what we do to show affection. That's what we do. We want that. Is there a potential risk that I can transmit it to either one of them? Yes, there is a risk. However, I'm willing to take that risk. Your particular situation is you're saying that you're on the antivirals. So being on the antivirals, you're going to do the best possible. It's going to be the best way to prevent transmission, and it lowers the transmission rate by 48% and keeps the herpes virus dormant in our system. So it does a really good job of preventing the transmission. You have a very small chance that you are going to transmit it. So that is great news. But again, yes, is there a risk? Absolutely. Is there a risk that the person you're with who does not have herpes can go get it from somebody else because he or she shares a drink with that person? Absolutely, right? So there's a risk you could pick it up from other people as well. I don't want you or I or anybody to feel like we're these like infected amoebas that you can't touch us anywhere, you can't do anything. We have to sorry, that probably didn't sound good. We have to self-isolate and we can't live life to the fullest. That's what the stigma wants you to believe. And the truth is so many people have been living with herpes for millions of years. So yes, does it get transmitted skin to skin via kissing? It does. I need a sip. While I'm doing that, I'm going to smash the screen, you guys. Thanks for smashing the screen with me. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for being here. Thanks for asking your questions. Okay. Just got diagnosed 2 weeks ago. Boyfriend cheated. Just started taking the daily meds. Lysine, good for extra support. Guys, thank you for the follows also. I'm seeing the follows come through, so thank you. Okay, so sorry you just got diagnosed. I've been there. I understand. Most people on this have been here. We all understand. So I want to clarify daily meds, lysine, what does all that mean? So you can take a prescription if you choose. It has to be prescribed in the United States. I don't know about other countries. In the United States, it has to be prescribed by a medical provider. And it is an antiviral that you take daily as a prophylactic to help prevent future outbreaks. So you can choose to take this or you can choose not to take this. It's not necessary. You don't have to take it. If you don't take it, nothing's going to happen to you. The worst that's going to happen to you is you are at a higher risk of getting more outbreaks. However, the longer you have the virus, and if you are taking care of your immune support, your immune health, and you're taking care of your body and potentially taking other supplements like Lysine and like some other supplements that I have here that I'm going to talk about in a second, a lot of times you can lower the reoccurring outbreaks, or you can suppress the outbreaks, or you can shorten the time, the duration in which you have outbreaks. So I take Lysine daily, and these are the products I use, guys. These are non-negotiables in my life. These are what I take, and I take them daily, and they have definitely helped me. I do not take the antiviral. I do not take that daily. I did at one point in my life, but I no longer take it daily just because I like to go more natural. I hate taking any sort of anything. So anyways, speaking of lysine, this is lysine. It is an essential amino acid. It's a protein that helps block the replication of the herpes virus. So the herpes virus does not like this. And when you have a high lysine environment in your body for the HSV virus, it does not like it, okay? So I take this daily. It's non-negotiable. I also take it when I have outbreaks. And these are all supplements. So what I want you to realize is these are supplements meant to supplement. Okay, so if you have questions, ask your doctors, but these are all over the counter. You get them from Natural Cure Labs, AKA Palmera Health. They just changed their name. I have everything linked for you so you can check it out. We also have Monolaurin. Monolaurin is lauric acid, and what it is it helps break down the outer shell of an enveloped virus. We have an enveloped virus that has a shell. HSV has a shell, and this helps break down that shell. So imagine like this is the shell. If it dissolves it, disrupts it, then the HSV virus can get in there and fight and do what it needs to do. So that's Monolaurin. So I got my bottles, popping bottles over here. And then we have Andrographis, which is extremely potent in preventing or just with the HSV virus. So I also take this daily. And these are supplements, like I said, are non-negotiables in my life. And I travel with them. I always keep them with me because anytime I feel any sort of prodrome, anytime I feel any sort of sensation, anytime I feel anything that's happening, I immediately take my Lysine. So this is something, again, I do not mess around with, and I will take that, and it typically helps with the symptoms. I can usually, if I feel the symptoms happening, I take that and I can feel it calm down. So that is my like ride or die. That's what I live by. Thank you for the hearts, guys. I'm going to smash the screen as well. Thank you. I appreciate you sending the hearts. Hearts are always awesome. Who doesn't like hearts? And they do a really cool thing on your screen when you make them. As far as how many do I take a day, I saw that came through. And again, they're all linked for you. So just check out my bio and you'll see that they're linked for you. I follow the daily recommendations of what to take, what's on the bottle. So that's what I take. If you have questions, of course, ask your doctors, do your own research, and that is how I get through it. How frequently do I take my supplements? Daily. I heard you can't spread HSV1 through your drinks. Okay, so that is a great question. So can you spread it through, like, how do I describe it? HSV, whether it's 1 or 2, it's the same essentially, are transmitted skin to skin. So let's say this hand has HSV and this hand does not. They touch, the transmission can occur. It's my dog, sorry. If I have my tea here, let's say I have my tea, let's say I have a cold sore, I take a sip. Probably if I give you a sip from the other side, you're probably not going to get it, right? So probably not going to get it. But if you took a sip in the exact same spot right after I drank from here, you could potentially transmit it that way. So things that we share, like lip balm, right? So chapstick, lip balm, lipstick. As girls, we are sharing these things a lot, at least in high school. Let's say I had an active cold sore. I do this and go, hey, do you want some? Right? That could cause a transfer. Speaking of the best lip balm ever, especially if you do have HSV1, this is the first product we came out with, and it has lysine in it, so it does help treat the active outbreak if you have one, and it can also help prevent it if you do get them often, because there is lysine in here, and it's all natural. It's manufactured in the United States with US ingredients, and it has cocoa butter, coconut oil, beeswax, and some other great ingredients that are just gonna help fight the outbreak. So by the way, this is linked for you as well. So my son does not have herpes, no, and my husband does not have herpes. Am I on birth control? Does it affect you? I am not on birth control. I have not been on birth control since I was in my 20s. So I'm not sure. You definitely helped me with my first diagnosis. Thank you for that. You're welcome, Jeanette. I'm glad. I'm sorry that you had or have been diagnosed with herpes. I'm sorry that this, for all of us, right? However, I want to propose that through all of our diagnoses, whatever, we have had a huge transformation. We are going to gain more confidence than we knew we had. We're going to be able to set expectations in our relationships, and we're going to change the course of who we are for a better way, a better life because of our diagnosis. So that will happen, and I'm really excited for all of you. Why don't doctors test for it like a blood test? Because in their mind, it's not a big deal, and because so many people have it, and they just don't want to deal with the aftermath of telling people they have herpes. But if they tested everybody, then most people would know they have it, then there wouldn't be a stigma around it. How accurate is the IgG after 10 months? I would say the IgG after 10 months should be pretty accurate. Definitely ask your doctor to clarify that for you, but the IgG is what we're doing when we do a blood test. They're looking for the IgG antibodies to see if you have HSV in them. If it is positive 10 months later, then you most likely have it. If you're negative, there's always room for you not to test positive, like your body hasn't made the antibodies yet. But in most cases, if you have blisters, then you probably have it. So it can take your body a couple of weeks to months to actually make the antibodies. So that's why you could have a positive swab and a negative blood. Do you know how much the risk of transmission is decreased for HSV2 with antivirals and condoms? It's decreased to a very low percent. The condom lessens the transmission between 30 and 50%, and the antiviral decreases the transmission of 48%. The chance of transmitting herpes without an outbreak, without a condom, without an antiviral is in the low percents. It's usually 10% or lower. So when you take that and add on other layers of protection, that is going to be the best way to prevent transmission to a partner. So when I had my son, my doctor told me, and I'm just repeating what my doctor said. I am not a doctor, but I'm repeating what my doctor said, was that if I did not have an outbreak, if I was on the antivirals, I had a less than 1% chance of transmitting herpes to my son. So there we go. How have you told partners that you have HSV? So I told past partners the same day I was diagnosed, and the ones that I could tell in person, I told in person, and the ones that I didn't have a relationship with or didn't live nearby or whatever, I told them over the phone. So I told them immediately and just was very honest and blunt and said, this just happened and I wanted you to know, and I just got the diagnosis. With future partners, I have had post herpes diagnosis. I have had 2 sexual partners. One was an ex-boyfriend. One is my husband. The ex-boyfriend, I told after a while of dating, like we dated, we hung out, we saw if we wanted to date each other. I got to the point in my life where I was only going to date for a relationship. It wasn't going to be just for fun, right? Not that I was really ever a fun type of person, but in general, I was very adamant about that. And so I waited to see if it was a relationship I wanted to pursue. And the conversation just went very simple, like, this is what I have. And it was over dinner. Unfortunately, it was over dinner. I wish it was something that we could have sat down and have had more of a planned situation, but we were at dinner and some sort of conversation got brought up, and it would have been awkward for me not to have shared my situation at that point. Other people have shared, it's when you're ready to be intimate. So that can be if you're DTF and ready to go like tonight and you just met the person today, then tell them now. If it's somebody that you're looking for something super casual, then tell them casually. If it's somebody that you're looking to have a more intimate, long-lasting, committed relationship with, then wait until you're ready to have that committed relationship. So just decide where you are in the mix. Thank you. You're welcome. Thanks for saying that. You appreciate what I do. I have HSV2 and my daughter was born via C-section. Doctors have said no need to test her. Did you test your kids? No, my son's not been tested. Because there's no, I don't want to live in paranoia with it. There's no reason to be paranoid about it. My son's going to be exposed to it from other people than me in his life. I'm not the only person living with this virus that is going to infect the world, right? There's so many other people and he's going to come across it on his own. So I'm not going to live in paranoia that, oh my gosh, did he pick it up, right? Can you test negative after 2 years of testing positive? You can. People have tested negative after testing positive. The question I'd ask yourself is, have you had actual lesions? Have you had outbreaks? If you've had outbreaks and you have it, what happens is it's just the antibody ratios go down in your body. And so there's people that like through diet can make their test go negative. Is HSV1 and HSV2 the same number of outbreaks? Everybody's body is going to be different. Everybody's reaction to the virus is going to be different. Typically, statistically, people with HSV2 have more outbreaks than HSV1. Any thoughts on low positive results and seeking confirmatory testing? Yes. So if you are in the evoquivocal situation where you're like, I think I have herpes, but I'm testing negative, I haven't gotten outbreaks, but I have the symptoms, the best thing to do would be to take the Western blot test, and it is through the University of Washington. You have to actually get it from the UW and have it sent to you. You should not take the antiviral, and I can't remember for how many weeks. I think it's 12 weeks. So if you've taken the antiviral and you want to get a test done, then go off of it for 12 weeks and then get the Western blot. That is the most accurate test that there is. And this is not for the person that has lesions and is like, oh, I want to make sure that it is. Like if you have a lesion, it's herpes, right? This is for the person that like, I just don't understand. I'm getting negative results. I have the symptoms, but I don't have any proof. So that's who that is for. And then that would be the best way to get the testing. You're calling me a MILF. I like it. It's a goal in my life. HSV2 usually has more outbreaks. Yeah. So guys, I'm going to try and answer the rest of the questions I have, and then I have got to run. While I'm doing that, I'm going to smash the screen just to say thank you for joining me today. I appreciate you. I appreciate you joining me. I appreciate you spending your morning with me. It may not be morning for you where you are, but it's morning for me. I'm still having my tea. Thank you for the follows. I appreciate you following me. So thank you for the follows. If you have a friend, a lover, somebody that needs to hear this information, please forward it as well and share the information. I appreciate you doing that. So thank you. I have both HSV1 and HSV2. I have HSV1 oral and HSV2 genital. Have you found many people have accepted it? Absolutely. The people that I care about have accepted it. The people that have rejected it, they're obviously not people that I need to have in my life. As far as rejections, I only had one rejection, and he came back later wishing that he didn't reject me. So, which was really fun, if I do say myself. Anyways, I got caught up in that moment. Anyways, so again, they're not, if you get rejected, it's because that person isn't into you, period. It has nothing to do with herpes. That person is not into you, period, the end. It also could be the person is not emotionally responsible or emotionally able to handle a conversation like intimacy or herpes. Or number two reason is they have a deep-rooted belief. I'm going to start getting into a little bit more about beliefs as we continue our journey here. Today I don't have time to start that, but if you have a deep-rooted belief and your subconscious mind has a belief about an STD or has a belief about dating someone with an STD or whatever that may be, if you have this block, then it's not going to happen. If this person has a block, they are never going to be able to be with you. It's not going to happen. So rejection happens, number one, the person's not emotionally responsible to have the conversation. Number two, they have a deep-rooted subconscious belief that is a limiting belief that's going to keep them from moving on and getting over that. Or number three, they're not into you. So those are the three reasons why it happens. Can you have symptoms that don't go away? That's not typical. They typically do eventually go away. And there we go. You haven't had cold sores in 7 years. Are you less contagious? That is awesome. You haven't had cold sores in the 7 years. I don't know for sure if you're less contagious, but if you are most contagious when you have an outbreak. So obviously if you're not getting outbreaks, you have a less risk of transmitting it. The longer you've had herpes in your body, the less likely you are to shed the virus. So with that information, I would say you probably are, but I can't answer that with like a hardcore yes or no for you. I would ask your doctor. Okay. Guys, thank you for joining me. I will be live again. I love the hearts. Thank you. All right. Have an awesome day. I appreciate all of you. And I hope I answered all your questions. If not, I will be back live again. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you soon. Bye, guys.